Okay, in the last video we talked a little bit about how you configure your strobes and how you hook them up to the mounts and get the umbrella mount set up. Now if you're doing tabletop video or photography, there's a few tricks. So in this particular setup, let me take this off of the tripod so you can see what I'm doing. What I have done is I've got the table or the tripod here. The front legs are sitting actually on the edge of the table and the back leg is resting back here on a chair. Now this lets me get up here and give an almost straight down view of what's happening on the table, and this is very handy for demonstration type videos like this particular video, or like my sister does craft videos this way where she's sewing or crocheting or knitting, and for anything like that, or if you're doing macro type photography or document photography, this is another setup that you can use for that. Now some of the tricks here is you want to be pointing as much straight down as possible without getting the legs in the camera view. Now that's why these rulers are here. This one I actually turn over because it's got cork on the back and I can see these stainless steel lines poking out from it, and then I pull it directly up against the legs of the tripod. Now it wasn't lined up this way. I actually did some pre-aligning. Normally what happens is after you have done a rough cut or whatever and it's pointing, it'll be something like this and you can see the legs of the tripod out here. You don't want that. So the first thing I do is I just try to get the bottom of the video image that's on the camera lined up correctly with that ruler that is sitting up against the legs. And what I'll usually do is use that. I'll split it in the middle. That way I know for sure I'm never going to hit the legs and that I have a good even line that goes all the way across the bottom of the viewfinder in my video camera. Okay, that looks really good, so I'm going to lock it down there, and then while I'm videoing I actually tip that ruler up and rest it against the legs on its edge, and then I know I've got that far to go with whatever it is that I'm placing on the table. And if it's actually touching that ruler, I've probably set it too far against towards the back. Now for sides and top, so the top I use a longer ruler, and I do sort of the same thing. I get stuff out of the way here. Whoops. And I set it up here towards the top, and I start moving it in till I can see it, and then I just back it off a bit until it's just off camera. And I try to make it so it's right along the edge there. Okay, so I can tell where the top of my view is. Now for the sides, and I don't have that many rulers, I have one more that is a 12-inch ruler. Now when you're on a video that's pointing down, your edge is skewed this way, so your ruler is not going to be straight up and down when you get it off here to the side. And I do kind of the same thing as what I did with the upper ruler. I just move it till the edge is just out of view, and I know I've got that space to work with. Now, like this stuff is all off camera, and to fix that, so I don't have another ruler, but I have another black thing here, it's letters, that has it's a straight edge, and that's all I really want, is to get that straight edge along the edge, and just move it till it's barely off camera. And I know then that I have this much space to work with without getting in trouble. And then everything that's inside those rulers is going to be in view of the camera. Now in this particular case, I have a fairly long view that's pretty short. And a lot of times I want to get that a little bigger. So what I do is I just raise the camera on the pole, say like that, and then I do the whole thing over again. Move things out to the edge, just so I know where these edges are. And now I've got all this extra space to work with. And I know if I move anything out to those edges, it still is going to be in the camera view. So I hope that's just a real quick, easy trick for how to keep your stuff in view of the camera, whether it's a video camera or your SLR for doing macro work, etc. It's always nice to have that kind of stuff to do, and even if you're doing like family portraits or big pictures like that, you can do the same, you can work with the same idea as long as you've got a straight edge of some kind that's big enough so that you can mark where the edges of your viewfinder are. Okay, I hope you found that little bit of information useful. Now one thing I did want to talk on this video about just before I go is two different types of quick release. Now on my older camera and tripod, it had a quick release, but it was a little screw like this that you had to use a coin, and this is really annoying. And the reason there's two pegs here, video cameras have a second hole that this is just a little spring-loaded peg that goes up into another hole just to keep it from torquing. Now this is the one that comes with my current tripod, and it has a little handle key thing here that I can use to twist. It's much easier to get that on and off than having to, when you pop this off and then you're like, I don't have a coin with me. Does anybody got a coin? Anybody got a nickel or a quarter that I can use? And so that you don't ever have to do that when you've got a quick release like this that has the little thumb screw. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you found it helpful.